Welcome back. It's Empress Dannie here with another episode of the Daily Grind. You already know I'm pouring you up a nice hot cup of Joe. Want to get your day off to a bright and beautiful start. Let's jump right in because I'm getting a lot of channel messages as I see the death card here. Definitely feel this could even be internal where you just wake up feeling differently today. Okay, this could be feeling differently about someone, a situation, a circumstance. It could be about life. Okay, it just feels like something is transitioning, transforming is really the word I want to use about your level of commitment. This can mean you wake up and like, F that job, right? It could also mean you wake up and like, let's do this, right? Like really feeling more deeply committed to something or to someone, right? It just feels like something has changed you, and perhaps going back or reverting back to the notion of study that I was picking up. It could certainly be because you have studied something or someone, a matter or a topic, and based on what you know now, you know enough, it feels like, with the faithfulness card, to be able to discern whether or not this is something or someone to whom you could be committed, should be committed. I also feel like if this is someone watching you, they've done so enough to trust. It feels like what they maybe have seen or heard consistently. The bad is kind of like I picked up on some things. Is there's an energy of getting the gist as I see the size card, which gives me the impression that this kind of somebody feels relieved. Okay, they trust is really what this feels. Somebody trusts at heart. Okay, and whatever it is that they're trusting in, they believe in that. This is like something that I can commit to. That I trust. That I believe, like this is a part of what feels like that something aligns. It feels so you could certainly be aligning with like businesses who have like the same, maybe it is like principles that you have, maybe foundationally, your beliefs coincide. Maybe it is with the mission, vision, and values of the organization or the job. It could also be like a friendship, a person, a partner. Like there's something of that nature that today it just feels like you either seeing what you need to see or they seeing what they need to see, and that's so valuable to me. But it's so important to me that it beckons me. I ain't gonna lie, that's what kind of what I feel. You could be receiving an invitation or you could be giving an invitation, but this is like, I'm kind of getting the energy of David, King David, deep calls unto deep. So it makes me feel like whatever this is, the vibration, this could, like, some of you may even realize like the vibe that you give off, like it rings to someone so deep. And as I say ring, now I have this card here, so for some of you that could resonate, but it's almost like it rings commitment. That's like, that's a vibe that I really could, it's almost this energy of like I could really get used to. I could do this on the regular. And again, this could be like when I go jog, I feel, this is something I want to do every day. Maybe it's just, that it changes me. It changes the tone of my day. So I feel like pay attention. These don't have to be like real deep things. These can be simple things. Maybe it is taking a walk or, incorporating healthy habits. It could be devotion. It could be meditation. It could be reading. It could be painting. There's just something that I feel like you're realizing how valuable it is to your vibration. And because of that, it is really calling on you, it feels like, to make some sort of transition in your life, which I like because it's almost as if I can't lie. This is the type of energy that make the player make your player wanna in the game. Okay, hang them player shoes up, right? Like I'm done. Like this is that type of energy. So I guess to just depict like the level of commitment, even if it's not relationship, you think about that. Oh no, I hear something, they ain't gonna never change, right? You have a situation like that. This is kind of like the vibration of a thing makes you want to hang up whatever that old way is, because something about the transition is so much more valuable that I believe this is for me or you are for me. So I don't have a problem, I don't have a problem like laying that to rest. I can quit that. I don't mind stopping that because this is what feels, I don't know why, something about it feels like very appropriate. Okay. And it's almost like for this time of life, like that's ringing with my heart, like that's what I'm on. Like this is, that's the way I feel. There's a conversation of some sort coming. Okay. There's a conversation of some sort coming. Okay. I hear my grandfather, when we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we will sing and shout the victory. That song is a song of manifestation, okay? When we all attain consciousness, then we'll be victorious, right? We'll have the answers and insight. We'll know what we need to do in order to achieve our victory. This came out, consolation, okay? Some of you, something's coming in that's going to console you. It's going to give you peace with something. As I see Fortuna sticking out of the back of the deck, I also see the enemy card and I see sweetheart here, okay? So something makes me feel like the enemy is merely showing where if there was something, whether it's your ego, their ego, if something was working against you and anything was like robbing you of your peace, it feels like something is coming in to bring you peace with whatever that is that was working against something that maybe took your peace, right? Lost a little bit of sleep over this, right? I know this consoles me. This makes me feel a lot better, right? About whatever that was, right? That's valuable, okay? That's important, okay? Some of you, there is an actual invitation, but I don't know why I feel like you can kind of feel or sense that, because some of you have actually set this up, what feels like spiritually. You have aligned this. You knew an open door of some sort would be coming is what this feels like. I feel like you maybe just didn't know. I feel like you were maybe being spiritually sensitive to where it would come from. Okay. The golden ball. I'm trying to think about what I know about like chickpeas. Maybe something significant about that. Um, Obviously, hush puppies, halal. um, I get the sense of, this is what I think, right? Because I've made, and I know this is probably seeming a little bit random right now, but like, I don't know if you guys, like, I've experimented with a lot of different foods. So, like, I've taken chickpeas and I've battered them up. I've floured them, like seasoned them and floured them, and then fried them. Oh, really, really good like that, right? So that's honestly what I'm kind of being reminded of, right? But if you've ever had chickpeas on their own, which I have, right, then by themselves, they really don't have much flavor on them their own, right? If you've ever had hummus, right, that's basically, ground up chickpeas. But it doesn't taste like anything until you put something in it. So something makes me feel like, I don't know if something was bland, if it was flavorless, or if there just wasn't a taste or a desire for it because it hadn't been seasoned. And going back to the beginning of my message where I was talking about been studied, right? Sometimes that's in life, right? We're not educated. We don't have an interest in something enough because we haven't studied it enough. We don't know enough about it, right? This could be someone, I don't have any interest in them. Maybe we haven't learned enough about them. It could be a certain topic. But again, lack of knowledge of people perish. Sometimes this is the very thing. It's the best for us. It's healthy for us. If you know anything about hummus, it's good for you. Chickpeas are good for you. But it's almost like we're not willing to explore what could be like increasing our knowledge, becoming more seasoned, becoming more informed or more educated, in order to, when we add that seasoning, then we realize it's almost like the flavor palette expands. So for some of you, I don't know if your palette is expanding. This could even be like your taste for different things, your desire for, it could even be like different cultures, different types of things. That's really what it's giving, is like, I have no interest. And for some of you, that could be, whether you didn't have interest or whether this was someone else, there could be something coming through that's consoling you, that's with the seasoning, it is what feels like adding, I don't know why I get this energy of like adding notes, adding flavor notes that either give you a piece about not having interest, that would have worked against me, right? Or give you a piece about what could be like exploring interest. I'm glad I looked further into this. I'm glad I studied this. I'm glad I took a closer look at this, or I learned more about this. I'm grateful to have what could be like learn this month. Some make me feel like there's something that I don't know if you dived into something. It just feels as though today, something, I don't know why, whatever this is, feels almost like it's colorless. And I realize I'm like, it probably seems like, what are you talking about, right? I feel like Jesus, giving parables and, thinking about Nicodemus and, with a rich man through the eye of a needle, or a camel through the eye of a needle, like that doesn't make sense, right? A man getting back into his mother's womb, right? These things make no sense. But nonetheless, it didn't stop him from telling the story and saying, hey, you'll get it, or it'll click when it needs to. And for some of you, that could be the situation, right? It could be, you think about, you meet people all the time, and sometimes you'll meet a person or they'll meet you and they'll look at you and they'll say, I don't think there's anything there, right? I don't think you know what you're talking about. Or, I don't really think that's a good idea for me, right? And then what happens later on down the road, it could certainly be where, someone realizes like maybe it is their need for you. Because with seasoning, right, more life experience, it's like, oh, this really is important. But had you not been willing to, put the bland out there, then there never would have been this, what feels like receptivity after learning more. So I kind of feel like some of you be grateful, because it's like when you're planting seeds, right? I talk about colorless, but it's a blank canvas, right? You literally can put whatever it is that you want to on there, but often people will see the blank canvas and say, oh, it's boring, without the vision for when everything is filled in. And something makes me feel like you are studying something and it's going from a blank canvas to now starting to see things filled in, or other people, as it pertains to you, are starting to see some things beginning to fill in. Look, the cosmos mirrors you, okay? So now that's kind of interesting, right? We've talked about that before, and maybe we'll go into more on Patreon subscribers. So join if you haven't. But I say that because, it's one thing to look at the planets and their alignment, but how that said, the cosmos mirrors you. Think about if everything that happens with the planetary alignment is actually a reflection of what's taking place in you. And you're the one that has the gravitational pull. So whether there are meteorite showers, whether there are, ozone is disrupted, things like that, is that a reflection of spirit telling you, no, your ozone, baby, that's your aura. Fix that, right? Repair that, mend that. So some of you could certainly be in a position where um, you're flowering, you're unfolding in life, you're learning, you're studying, and you're becoming, with more experience, you're becoming better at, you have a lot more peace in circumstances where I feel like you wouldn't have, okay? Communication is coming today, okay? Communication today, okay? Some of you, this is going to be something, I don't know why I'm kind of getting like, if somebody's used to paying for communication, there could be something significant about you're not going to have to pay for communication. So I don't know if sometimes that can be like, having to send a letter certified mail, right? You think you pay the cost of postage. Some of you, there's some sort of communication. It's going to be free. You're not going to have to pay for whatever this communication is. It's going to be a free communication. This can even be something that, I don't know, it also kind of gives the energy of like someone is incarcerated. You got to maybe pay to, I hear, kiss me through the phone, kiss me through the phone. But if you think about that, that could mean someone's being released. So for some of you, that could be the conversation is, getting that phone call, come pick me up, right? It could be something of that nature. It just feels as though there's something that's going to give you peace today, okay? You're going to have peace in some situation or circumstance. Bottom of the deck is karma, untying karmic knots, okay? So something about today could be doing that, right? Um, that usually speaks to undoing something that has already been done. So this could be someone going back on their word. This could be something changing, right? Something that was one way no longer being that way and being a different way. Untying karmic knots. If a situation is karmic, that sometimes gives like, it could be like breaking up, right? Going back on a decision. It could be like the changing a contract in some way. Joy and happiness is here. So whatever this is, it feels like it's going to heal a situation or a circumstance, untying whatever these karmic knots are. Let's get one of these animal cards. Also, I remember an energy came up the other day, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 days ago, about there being like somebody lying type of energy, right? If I feel the energy connected to that, where something about today is like someone having peace with, it's almost like, I know they were working against me. It's almost like I know they were the one that was lying, or I know this was what was hidden. There's something of that nature, okay? So that's why I'm getting like, it's almost like if I trusted them, I won't trust them again. This is kind of like that type of energy when it comes to untying karmic knots. Was like, I know they're the ones there's something of that nature, and someone has peace with, they're consoled with knowing, it feels like what took place in some sort of circumstance. That's what it feels like. It's clearing some aspect of the karma, okay? That kind of fell out. I saw the stingray, which we've covered before as being an energy of like, I ain't gonna lie, this resonate more deeply. Having kind of a conversation with one of my friends the other day about oysters, so I'm tickled to see this. But interesting facts you can find or by looking up information about oysters. Oysters are best when they're chewed. For those of you who maybe wondered, you're supposed to chew oyster. It releases the oyster's juices. You're not just supposed to swallow it or just suck it down. You're supposed to chew it a little bit. It releases the C notes. See, I ain't gonna lie, for some of y'all that's hitting way deeper. Something's releasing some C notes for you. And it might be from taking a young bite. Hey, we saw that stingray, so sometimes that can be, you might be hitting, shocking somebody in some way today. Someone could be shocking you today, but with the oyster here, it feels as though there could certainly be some sort of a release that's taking place. Um, that is funny. The earthworm is at the bottom of the deck. So I feel like you're going to, at very least, you're going to sense this. Okay. This is, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of feel like it's going to be felt. Okay. By whatever it is that has been studied, whatever this is going to be sensed or be felt. And somebody's going to be at peace or be consoled, it feels. Consolation is coming, clearing any aspect of karma. Yeah, some of y'all, like I said, there's the death card, and look what's at the bottom of the deck. Sudden wealth. So let me tell you, this is like a transition, a situation. This is kind of like the karma ends or something karmic ends, and finally alignment takes, but things line up, it clears, it gets you back in your wealthy place, back in the position that you're supposed to be in, back in the top spot. That's really what this feels like. Yeah. Some of you, if there's anything dealing with like ranking or placement, this makes me feel like you're going to be back. And like I said, if there is some sort of a top spot, you're going to be put back in this, I just heard in the driver's seat, but it definitely feels like in some sort of a leading role in a top position. The bagged one. Oh no, you might be getting bagged. You might be getting the bag, okay? The bagged one is here in the Night of May, and it's giving like I don't know. It's giving like Lady in the Tramp with the Night of May. Maybe some of you are having like spaghetti. I literally just heard Charlemagne again, so he could be significant. But the bagged one I feel like you might be getting the bag today in some way. With consolation, you have peace because something or someone was, maybe working against you, and it could just be some of you, you think about business or otherwise. Sometimes it's just life, right? Sometimes people are not as experienced, right, in areas of life that we're experienced in. And sometimes it takes some time, whether it's for people to get to know us, to understand this is like your ways is not their ways. You different. Everybody does things a different way. I just heard, but I bet you can't eat just one. So some of y'all, that's the case, right? I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if you look plain or what, but it's like you might look plain. I just heard, but you savory. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. Somebody might be salty. But it's just giving season, right? Your age, your experience. And this is kind of like, how to get the juice out the oyster. You know how to extract the good stuff, how to get the flavor, if you will, how to get the substance. And it feels as though you have been doing that. And because of that, now transition is coming in your circumstance, and you about to I'm about to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. So you about to bag something today is what it feel like. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. I definitely feel that. Something that's valuable to you. Again, this could be a possession. It could be a position. It could just be a way of life, a way of being. This could just be your head is in a good space. Because that might be what you need. What you need. I need peace. I need to be consoled. So it's like, if that's the case, I feel like whatever it is that you're getting that. See the obedience card? I ain't gonna lie, I don't know exactly what this means. We'll check it out when we go over to Patreon and get the message for members. But that's all for our daily grind messages. I love you and I hope you'll join me there. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.